Translation is thus.
Give yourself to God daily. Keep yourself for God daily. And may tomorrow be as today.
We give homage to the Creator, who is like our Father, and who is like our Mother, who is everything that we can perceive, and everything that we cannot perceive, who is everything, yet is no thing, who comes to us in the form of the Neteru Ra, who is the light of the heavens, light of the inner planes, as well as the light of our lives, who shines the light for us on the path of Ma'ati, which is the path of truth, justice, righteousness, and harmonious balance, who comes to us in the form of the light of vitality, giving us the strength, the endurance to live and act upon that which we know to be true. Homage to you, the one who shines in and through us as a beacon of light for those who are blind to the facts of their place, their positions, and their responsibilities in the divine scheme of things. May we be Ma'akiru, true of thought, word, and deed, to our highest reality, and in our moments of crises and the dark nights of the soul when it appears that everyone and everything else has let us down. So is, and so shall it be. Amen Ma'at.
Amen Ma'at.
Ma'akiru. 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 MC. We on the way.
We on the way.
Much gratitude to our ancestors, the deities of our ancestors that left great works and words of wisdom that we now remember today. And may we be blessed to one day leave great works and great words of wisdom so our words and our deeds could be remembered also. And to our beloved family online that's watching in the safety of your homes, bless you too. So I say, Dientinu, Sautinu, Neteru, Jehuti, Hina, Ost, Neterui, Urtekau. It means, may you be given protection and covering from the Neteru, Jehuti, and Ost, the two Neteru who are great of words of power. And to the people in this room, in this booth, in this place, may the rays of Ra continue to cover you, shine over you, and protect you also. In a sense, we should be celebrating because we're here once again. I know we're following all the precautions. We're here once again. So all the communions we've had, all the gatherings we had so far, we have in this day and time where the infection rate is spiking up again and they're threatening quarantining and shutting down this city at least. We have not had one case of the coronavirus amongst us in our community so far that I know of. Is that correct?
Two.
All right, that's something to give energy about, right? Y'all quiet, right? Yes. That means, after I've been talking since I've been talking junk about the quarantine and about the positive mind state and spiritual technology, and yet we have not one person sick. While every time you go to a restaurant or anybody else's public gatherings, people are getting sick. So that means it lends some credence to what it is that we teach about our spiritual technology. Of course, we follow some of the prescribed protocols, but we have our own spiritual protocol also. So we're doubly reinforced. So we say 1 time is an incident, 2 times is a coincidence, 3 times is establishing the beginning of a pattern. So we're well on the way of saying that our stuff works. So we have to keep having this conversation about what works. We can't downplay when stuff works and deify when things don't work. The society has been deifying what hasn't been working, so we have to make sacred what does work. I know in our community we have the scholars, the intellectuals, and the people that's into things like science, and they have this saying, they say documentation over compensation. Documentation over conversation, and that's cool. It's cool to find scientific research about essential oils or whatever, but I have to say this much. We're spiritualists in here, right?
Two.
We don't have the time to wait for science to catch up to where we're at. We understand that science has to first care about what it is that we say works for us. Then they have to raise the money to research whether this stuff is true or not. So we can't always wait for them to validate or confirm what works for us or not. Since we're on that, as spiritualists, have you ever experienced the reality, or have you ever experienced the reality? Have you known the reality of how, when they say that, I think the Christians say it, they say, be in the world, but not of the world, right? Have you ever experienced the reality when you could be in the same room and talking to someone, but be on a total different frequency? Experiencing a total different reality. You be like, the ancestor's telling me this. I see an ancestor over here, and they be like, I don't see nothing. I don't hear nothing. You crazy. How come I can't hear it? Show me, prove to me. You're like, well, if you can't see it, if you can't hear it, then that message was for me. You have to find your own message. True. You might be too dense to see what I'm saying. And it's not an insult. Everyone is on a slightly different frequency. And when we come in here, we do ceremony so we can all be on a relative frequency. So the truths that you're hearing in here won't be so incongruent, won't rub you such in the wrong way. You understand? True. So that they say documentation over conversation, the spiritualist says demonstration over documentation. So we could talk text, we could talk scientific things, but then we always have our experience. And never let no one discount your experience, especially if your experience with the ancestors and the spirits have guided you and protected you and guided you to the right place, okay? So we're on this path. We're on this path to the truth. We don't call it the truth, we say it's a path. We're in a society, everyone's trying to get a monopoly on what they think the truth is. The Christians think they got the truth. They say Jesus is the way. The Muslims got the truth. They say Muhammad, and the truth that Muhammad brings is the way. We say Ma'at is the way. It doesn't matter what religion or tradition you follow, balance is the way. So we're on this path. Like a mountain reaching the summit to see Aten Ra, to see the sun in our sight, or if you're on the water, on the voyage, we're trying to go to that horizon and see Ra and Aten Ra on that horizon. So we cannot forget that we have a responsibility to the generations and the genres behind us to leave some context clues so they won't run astray. You're like, oh, this is dangerous. Let's see a sign over here. Let's put an arrow here to stay on here. We don't got to worry about nobody else's path, how they get into the top of the mountain. Why would we worry ourselves about that? We're here and now. So we got to leave the context clues to tell our people to stay on course. Y'all got your who seers today? Anybody? We're going to go with Ptah real quick. Page 33, chapter 4, second part of paragraph 4. Say 2 when you got it. 2. All right, so the second part of that paragraph we're going to go through, line for line. How many got the who seer in here? Raise your hand real quick. All right, y'all want to read it together? Say it with spirit, the first line, so the people online can hear you. You're like, listen, I can't read. Y'all hesitate and stuff. Don't make me read out loud. I'm reading.
You talking about where it says there's none?
From helmsman.
Helmsman.
Okay, houseman.
Helmsman, do not let your ship go astray.
Y'all supposed to read it like the Israelites.
Okay.
Helmsman.
Helmsman, do not let your ship go astray.
Hold on. Is anybody paying attention online? We can't forget our community online, because I don't know if they can hear. Does it register right here?
There's people online.
No, can they hear? Because if they can't, then I'm going to have to recite it. Greetings to the people online. Can you all hear them recite?
They can hear, yes.
Okay, let's go. Once again.
Helmsman, do not let your ship go astray.
Okay, helmsman, do not let your ship go astray. So once again, whether you're on that mountain trying to get to that summit or whether you're on the water, it's telling you, helmsman, you have a ship. You're a part of a ship. A ship has a crew. It says stay on course. Don't go astray. Stay focused. Don't be whimsical on your path. I know we're in a day and time where we're being constantly inundated by a lot of information. So we're listening to the Christians, we're listening to the Moors, we're listening to the Muslims, we're listening to the rest of the conscious community. And sometimes people can get confused about what to believe. So I say, forget about that. Just have confidence in your training, your talent, and your skill. So if you're on this path, you, at least here with us, you've been trained to do what it is that you need to do to get to where it is that you need to get. True?
True.
All right, next.
Life giver, do not let the people die.
Life giver, do not let the people die. So in here, we're not going to talk reckless. In here, I might talk confident, and some people might have low confidence. So when they get around high confidence people, they think high confidence people are reckless. But we have science and metaphysics and esoteric philosophy to back us up. Remember, this is about a firm state of mind. Firm state of mind controls your body's energetic system to create your firm reality. Life giver, do not let people die. So it's interesting, death is actually in the air these days, or at least people think death is in the air. 1 minute people are here, 1 people are not. We have this virus. They say, once again, y'all know me, they got all these globules in the air that we say we're walking through. And it's real, people are dying. So we have to, like our ancestors, get comfortable with death. So here we are the day after Halloween. There's a high ancestral energy going on right now. It's high ancestral energy in this time where death is becoming very common. So people will be leaving this plane at an accelerated rate due to the fact that so-called death is in the air. They think in the Kemetic tradition that we are obsessed with death, because most of the literature that they're coming across is the pyramid text, the Ryu Pertim Peruim Gert, what they call the Book of the Dead. So it's looking like, why were they so obsessed with death? But we got to understand that they had whole libraries that Christians participated in burning, where hundreds of thousands of books and scrolls were burned. So all that was left was many of the things on the wall, which were the funerary texts. So now, thousands of years later, it looks like that's all that they was paying attention to. We might have had 5 Bibles or 5 Qurans, as far as we know. We had some of the remnants of the wisdom text, which speaks volumes to the state of mind that they were. It speaks volumes to the state of mind that sparked why and how they did what it is that they did. So, I know many of the other traditions, people are scared of death. So if you're not scared of death, you're not scared of any of this thing that's going on right now. So they said we had the Book of the Dead. We said that's called the Reyu Pert Imheru Imger, the chapters of coming forth by day from the night, right? Wasn't the books of the day. It was just the scrolls that they found because they were digging in graves. Ain't that kind of nasty anyway? You digging in graves. Oh, we found these books. Oh, it's the books of the dead. And they just went with that. That is the books of the dead. Until this day, people are calling it the books of the dead, which is disrespectful. So we have a deity called Inpu that they say is the god of the dead. The jackal-headed one that looks spooky to a lot of people. So if you're coming from Judeo-Christian background and you see that jackal-headed deity, a lot of times that's scary to people. It was even scarier to some of our kids. Remember Ahava used to be crying when we came up with the Inpu math? We having a fit. Spooky. So it invokes something. Maybe it should invoke some respectful fear, not just fear for the sake of fear, but a respectful fear, like the respectful fear you should have of your father and your mother or your grandparents. So that deity was considered the god of the dead, but let's change that word from dead to ancestors, the god or the nature or the force or the deity of the ancestors. Are y'all scared of Inpu in here? We're very comfortable with Inpu in here, right? We have the image at the altar over there. So we give acknowledgement to the face of Inpu. Inpu is the so-called opener way between this world and the next world. You got to go through Inpu before you get to your ancestors. We libate our ancestors, so we're very familiar with that thing or that energy called death. For us, death is initiation into true spiritual life. So we're here in the physical plane talking about we're spiritual, but death is going to really make you spiritual. So we're here getting comfortable with the inevitable while we're living here in the flesh, right? It's so powerful that if you had to name this religion, it would be called Ankh and Ma'at, living in truth, life, not death. If you had to name it again, it could be called Watan Unk. Can y'all say that? And that means the path of life, the road of life. So we're not obsessed with death. If anything, we're obsessed with life in all of its forms. Let's go. The next one.
Provider, do not let the people perish from need.
Provider, do not let the people perish from need. So this is in the current time where the people need a word of encouragement. They don't need timid leaders. They don't need timid speakers that's gotten you scared. This is a time where we're being tested. Our metal is being tested. So whatever it is that you believe or proclaim to believe or proclaim to know, it better work. So before the crisis, we've been saying how great our spiritual technology is. People come up with their stories and stuff. So now, would you bet your life on it? So I'm here to reinforce what it is that we've been saying that we believe, what we've been saying that we've experienced, what we've been saying that we know. So I'm not going to promote the fear philosophy in here. I say fear, pay attention, collect yourself, gather yourself, use your tools, and move forward anyway. We can't stay in the house forever. Germs, viruses, microbes, all of these things been around since the beginning of time. If anything, we have to get our hygiene up. The Kemetic tradition was one of the cleanest traditions ever. They had a whole class of priests called wild priests, purity priests, about cleansing. So get your spiritual hygiene up, not just washing your hands. Are you keeping your spiritual frequency high? So yeah, you're wearing white, but is your aura white? You know? Let's go.
Shade, do not let the people become dry in the sun.
Shade, do not let the people become dry in the sun. That's interesting. Shade, do not let the people become dry in the sun. Here we have a melanated people talking to the shade. Be like, don't let us get burnt up in the sun. There's been a lot of romanticization about the sun amongst our people. We say we're sun people and everybody's dreaming about being back or basking in the sun. And I say, yes, I encourage it. But it's only because we come from the Western culture. We've been raised in the Western culture when we've been living inside, spending way too much time inside. So we're actually starved of the sun, to the point where people are dreaming about no longer working and somehow living some fantasy life where you're just out in the sun. But here our ancestors said, do not let the people become dry in the sun. Let's look at that. So the same thing that could give life could actually take life, right? So we're talking about ma'at. We're talking about balance. Too much of something is just as bad as not having enough of something also. So it's telling you, don't be so excessive, even in good things. You can eat too much of the right thing and get indigestion. So what is the metaphor for the sun? Light, enlightenment, illumination. So it's saying, shade, do not let our people become dry in the sun. So some people get stuck with just the intellectualism of the philosophy, the intellectualism of enlightenment. Our ancestors were great. They did this, they did that. Look what else they did. That's getting stuck in the sun. That's why they call them intellectuals dry. So if Ra, Aten Ra, is the primary source of life and stimulation on the earth, watch this. Ra, y'all agree, is the primary source of life and stimulation on the earth? So our ancestors did this thing where they played with words called paradigming. Sometimes they say a word forward and a word backwards. What is the word for action in Medonet? Not Sanjeti. I don't see that. Anybody? Anybody online? Can y'all read on that screen? Say that again. The root word ar. So you got Ra, the primary source of life and stimulation on earth, and reverse that ar, action. That sun is to stimulate you into action. We are people of the sun, children of the sun, Kredu, Ra. We're supposed to be moving. We're not supposed to just be basking in the sun. Our ancestors just had a tradition where their way of life kept them in the sun, but they wasn't just in the sun. So the nature of existence on earth is work. That's why they say love is the word murder, and murder is a plow. And plow means you have to till the fields in the spirit of love. Last one. Go ahead.
Protector. Do not let the crocodile seize the people and drag them away.
Protector. Do not let the crocodile seize the people and drag them away. The crocodile, in this sense, represents the personification of that which you fear. Most people are scared of crocodiles and alligators, right? So it's an animal that could exist on land and it could also exist in the water. Wouldn't you be scared if you was in a pond and you seen that eye of that crocodile? And they coming at you sideways. So the water can represent the subconscious mind. So most people have seeds of doubt and fear in the subconscious mind. So when that alligator, it don't necessarily always come up to you straight. Remember, it doesn't see straight, it has to come here, come here. So that represents the thing where fear paralyzes you. When people get scared, they're looking to their side, their back. So it said, do not let the crocodile seize you. So it's telling you, do not let your fears do not let your fears drag you away, or don't get carried away with your fear. So there's a healthy amount of fear when you might have to change up your perspective, but you should never be paralyzed with fear and never let your fear carry you away. I think I spoke about this last communion. Remember I said that about that movie Doom? They had a mantra in there about fear. Anytime he came across something that he thought was bigger and beyond him, he said, I will not fear. Fear is the mind killer. I shall let it pass through me, and in the end only I shall remain. Once again, that's a charge. It's almost like they read this quote, I will not let the crocodile of fear drag me away. The point is, we're here in this room allegedly risking our lives. We're not risking our lives in our perspective here. We are actually living our truth. We're not risking our lives. We're actually demonstrating our truth by reminding our friends and families that's online, that's in the safety of their own homes. We're reminding you of your connection to the source, and the source is abundance. We have abundance of energy, abundance of resources, and we're reminding you of the tools that we've always been teaching you that you had to conquer and master your reality. So now here's the reciprocation. Y'all all right? Here's the reciprocation. So this is not a judgment to the people that's at home that's afraid or intimidated to come. That's all good. We totally do it. Just know your limitations. Us here, this means so much to us that we value this thing so much that we think it's worth the risk, in a sense. So the reciprocation is, when it comes to this scenario, we're all big, bad, and bold, right? But this is not the whole of the legacy showing up for communion in your mass. So everyone has their strong suit in this legacy. So this is what we happen to be standing on, and we like, yeah, don't forget that you're in touch with the source and use your tools, but it might be something else when the situation shifts, changes, and transforms. It's another situation where the people online might have to remind us of the same thing. Say it could come to money and finance, and be like, yo, I'm broke as hell, I can't afford that. And be like, hey brother, you're one with the universe. The universe is abundance. We don't believe in scarcity. Use your tools. Did you pray? Did you meditate? So like no one should feel no sort of way, because some of us are operating in confidence with this thing, but no one has it all together. You're only strong as your weakest link. So some other people might be strong at some other things, and one day they'll be reminding us of that. Is that clear? So now, I ain't even got to the lesson. So I want to say congratulations to the Meteru, the student or the citizens and initiates of the Temple of Anu, for not just a successful, but a well-received Kemet in the Cloud function. Give yourself some energy once again. Once again, it's good for a job well done. So y'all know, me and Kemet is not easily pleased or easily impressed. But y'all did y'all thing on that. And it's important for teachers to tell the students and the citizens when you got something right, because everybody's quick to tell you when you got something wrong. Even in society, social media, they rail on you. People tell you what's wrong so much that you think the world is just totally bad and that good no longer exists. The good is old, good is out of style. There's just as much good in the world as there is bad. People are just somehow obsessed with what's wrong. And that like the right thing and good is somehow boring or played out. So the drama is what excites people. But y'all did y'all thing. But understand, there's no but, understand for the people that don't know, we have a teaching in here, we say excellence is our standard. Excellence is our standard. We've been teaching that for a while, and some people might even think that that's unfair because the standards are too high, when in reality, black people's standards have been just way too low. We've been comfortable with low standards. So in here, you're going to be challenged and stretched beyond the parameters of your potential. So we say excellence is our standard, but some people say, well, nobody is perfect. By this time, after 5 years being comedic, after 10 years being comedic, no one's perfect, but you should be well on your way. Here's a new proverb about being perfect. It is better for you to be more on the side of perfection, struggling, than comfortable on the side of imperfection. You see, so many people in our community are comfortable with imperfection. They're preoccupied with chilling. When real spirituality is growth. It's so much growth in spirituality, some people run away leaving because they heard, I thought it was supposed to be peaceful. Yeah, it's peaceful after the work. They want to come in where everything's together. You be like, no, everyone works in here. Everyone has to pick up their plow. Like the Christians say, pick up their cross. We say, you got to pick up your plow and put in work. So what I'm saying to the mature, the students, the initiates, the citizens, I'm saying, or I'm asking you, you didn't know what you know. You didn't know what you knew till it was time to teach it, right? You really don't know what you know till it's time to teach it. All the other time before y'all sitting here getting notes, y'all got volumes of notes from me and him over the years that y'all looking at us like, yo, Nasib probably forgot more than what I know. It's so much information that we give in here. So there's 3 stages. There's information stage, there's the experience stage, and there's the demonstration. Information, experience, demonstration. Again, information, experience or inexperience, and demonstration. Y'all got it? Mm-hmm. So information is the gathering and acquiring of data. And that's the bulk of everybody's journey. Just getting the information, whether you're sitting at my feet, Baba Haru's feet, Infodisi's feet, Queen Afua's feet, Hemet's feet. Half your journey was just acquiring the knowledge. And a lot of our community is just stuck in acquiring the knowledge. Some people are like, they just, Dr. John Henry Clark said, Dr. Ben said, you be like, but it's 2020 now. What are the new insights since they said that? We're not here to contradict them, but we have to grow. They wanted us to grow and build on what it is that they said. They were, by no means was they thinking that they finished anything. But sometimes people be acting like they finished everything and it's illegal to have a new thought.
Teach.
So how do we become the new Dr. Benson? The new John Henry Clark? So sometimes our community don't allow that to happen. So it's information, gathering data. Experience is when you start understanding and comprehending all that information that you got. And this is why the conscious community never grows exponentially. They just stay at the information gathering phase, because to experience, to inexperience, you're gonna have to do something with some of that. Or you're gonna have to ponder deeply about some of that. And then there's the demonstration. I'm gonna say demonstration is, I'll sum it up in one word. Demonstration is competency. We gotta get back to competency in our tradition. We got a lot of people spouting the platitudes, but who's competent in what it is that they know? That's why it seems like we hit this wall of standstill. So there's this woke movement and then there's this general awakening, but we can't get past this stump because there's a lot of incompetency going on in the community. So as initiates, students transitioning into teachers, you're beginning to know the difference or the contrast or the connection between doing and being. A lot of people think they're being Kemetic or being African when they were just doing Kemetic things and doing African things. Doing is the part where there's a script, there's expectations, there's protocols, and there's nothing wrong with scripts, expectations, and protocols. That is the beginning level. Whether you come in here, we have scripts, expectations, protocols. The Moors have scripts, expectations, protocols. The Christians have, right? Everybody has it. You need that. The military has protocols. Anything worth remembering in this world has scripts, protocols, and expectations. So what I'm saying is, at a certain phase, you're doing things because people are watching. You're like, I'm going to do the right thing because the sitting Kemetic's watching. I'm going to do the right thing because as a Black African conscious person, people are expecting me to do this. They're expecting me to protest. They're expecting me to eat a certain way. They're expecting me to riot. Oh, the city's watching me. Oh, the community is watching me. Oh, my children are watching me. So, y'all see? You have you even been there before? So there becomes a point in your journey after the certain level of information, experience, and demonstration, you're going to make a transition into being. And being is like organic. Everything comes from an authentic place where no one has to remind you what to do or how to be. Did y'all get that? You come from a place, an authentic place where no one has to remind you of how to be or what to do. I'm at a place in my life, I can't remember the last time somebody needed to tell me that I need to meditate or pray. Because it's just that authentic. I can't go a day without doing those things. If anything, people are wondering and waiting to see the fruits of my labors of praying and meditating and libating to my ancestors. But no one has to tell me, you need to pray more. You need to consult your ancestors more. You need to meditate no more. So being is not being perfect, but it's a certain level of mindful awareness. And when you live your life with a certain level of mindfulness and awareness and authenticity, you rarely have to apologize. You're going to have to do a lot of apologizing at the doing part, because with the doing, I'm talking about the scripts, the protocols, the expectations, the reading, the information. You might not know how to apply that with wisdom. And you start rubbing people the wrong way, saying the right thing, but at the wrong time. Like, damn, all I told him was he's ugly. You're like, it might have been the truth, but did it have to be said that way? So there's a certain wisdom that you have to attain over the course of time. So as you teach, you begin to find your own way. I saw some of your presentation. You all don't sound like carbon copies of me and him. And we've seen that before, like we watched the Nation of Islam and everybody sounds like Farrakhan down to the part in the hair. They're like, man, he got the part too. He got the smile too. And it's a hot swag. Like I'm just making an observation. So in here, I haven't seen carbon copies of us. I've seen your own interpretation of the data that we've given you. So what we've seen, y'all saw the reviews. We gave the survey scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest. Most of it was 5s, no less than 4 for the most part. That's a total success. So what that means is you got the data, you aligned it with the teachings that we taught you, so you've done justice to the teachers. I'm proud. You've done justice to the temple. It raised and elevated the status and the reputation of the temple, and you've done the legacy proud. So give yourself some energy. So in the legacy, it says, go up in the land and make your name the embodiment of every good law. That's your charge as citizens. So y'all did y'all thing. Y'all got your first opportunity to establish your reputation. So on this path, yes, we're going to make many mistakes. And yes, we're going to rub people the wrong way. But that's the whole purpose of the temple, to stretch and grow the perimeters of your potential. You're not supposed to come and be comfortable. Y'all understand that?
True.
Y'all remember the lecture I gave? It said religion is rehabilitation for fallen gods and goddesses. Religion is rehabilitation, because we're organically born divine beings, but do you really just organically grow into your divinity now? That's a whole training process. So a temple is more like a hospital. Your people that come here, they come to get healed. They're not coming because they finished. They come to get healed and be made whole. And as we all become made whole, we make some power moves forward. So don't come here expecting perfection from anybody else, especially when you're the one bringing the nonsense or the baggage coming in. So they say there's a saying, I know that Sinjetti, he works at the hospital. I hear people say hospitals are some of the, the foulest, unclean place on the planet. That's not my experience at the hospital. There is a lot of germs, viruses, and bacteria and microbes, right? But where's that coming from? The people coming in. So yeah, it's just half true. So yes, those things are present, but the hospital is fully equipped to sanitize those things. And they sanitize it on a regular. So let's make that same correlation. So if the temple is the spiritual hospital, it is the people bringing all types of bad energy coming to the temple. So as the priests, we're like the doctors and the nurses, and we got the spiritual technology to sanitize a lot of that stuff that people are bringing through the door. Y'all got it? All right, so now let's get to the reading. So I'm only giving y'all a couple of points. So what was required for the reading of this year, part of the reading of this year, said showing reverence to the incense deity. That sounds crazy, right? Like, what? Reverence to the incense deity. Does anyone know who the incense deity is? No. You're correct, it's just half true. You was too fast. No, I see the connection why you would say Heru. Anybody online, can you check that? Who is the incense nectar? Ra. Technically everybody's right, but I'm looking for a certain answer. Who? Impu, no. Remember, what the Kabbalians say, every truth is but half true. So once again, no one's wrong. So y'all give up? Not never had. Did you say? Shoe. Almost, we're getting close. Anybody on this YouTube on this one?
Yeah, there's no comments on there.
All right, so Nefertum. Yeah, Nefertum, or they bring it together, Nefertum. Nefertum is the son of Ptah and Sekhmet. So we're talking about the Trinity, not the Christian Trinity of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, which is an incomplete energetic matrix. We're talking about the African Trinity, the Afro-Kemetic Trinity, where it's mother, father, child, or father, mother, child. So Mut, the mother, equals spirit. Yit, the father, equals mind. Kred, child, equals matter. So we're talking about how something comes from the invisible into the visible. So we say the father is Ptah, the mother is Sekhmet. We're talking about fire, creative fire. They say Ptah is the creator, right? Yeah. The creator of heavens and earth. They said Ptah. Ptah is the patron deity or nectar of craftsmen. Baba Heru is a priest of Ptah. Baba Heru did all of this. Baba Heru did this. Baba Heru is a modern blacksmith. The blacksmiths were said to almost have supernatural capacity to manipulate the fire, air, earth, water in their art to make these things, welding. So we have fire, the fire of life. We have Ptah, the one who yields the fire, because Sekhmet is the fire. Fire by nature is very volatile. So you need someone who has the power to yield that fire into creative terms. So Nefertum, what is Nefertum? Nefertum means the maturation. Nefertum means to come forth fresh. Remember the outcast, so fresh and so clean. Because remember the blacksmith gotta be hammering and smelting and put it in that water. And this thing had to be buffed. It was black before it became like this. They had to polish this. This would be representation of Nephratum, not the Ankh. I'm talking about the completion of the work. So Nephratum means maturation, coming forth fresh in the new. So Nephratum represents distillation. Nephratum represents essence. So Nephratum is the incense nectar. So what Kerhead was saying, he said Senetra. Senetra is the word for incense. It means divine, incense or divine. So it represents fragrance. Things that smell good were considered divine. So incense, the smoke of incense, it was believed that the prayers were brought up to the heavens and to the other dimensions on the smoke of incense. Incense were used to cover the smell of animal sacrifice at one point. So what the lesson is, where there's positive, there's negative. So yeah, you made an offering to the deity, the nectar with that animal, but it's stinking. So it's foul, but it was used for something good, but there's something foul at the same time. So incense clears the way. So y'all see this thing of smoke in the room, right? So the incense smoke represents spirit. So when that smoke is gone, you still have the smell. The smell is the essence. That represents Nephratum. So we went from spooky, the incense god, to spiritual, to using it in ritual, to now we go to science. So we're talking about the science of smell. The smell affects the amygdala, which is the emotional portion of the brain. So certain smells like vanilla arouse sensuality in people. This is science. You can check it in science. Certain fragrances arouse certain feelings in the person. So certain fragrances could cause what's known as a hormonal cascade. And remember, hormones are chemical messengers in your body. So if you have a fragrance that has a positive influence, it's going to have a positive hormonal cascade. When you have positive hormonal cascade, that stimulates proper immunity. So you have the proper positive hormonal cascade stimulates positive immunity, you become more invulnerable to germs, microbes, bacteria. Y'all see how it's working out? More attention to the incense god or the incense deity. So what's the lesson? Offer daily to the Pa'ut, Neteru, and the ancestors, the cycle of the Neteru. Whatever Neteru you acknowledge, offer incense to the Neter as well as the Neteru. But check this one caveat, offer the best incense. Like you should offer the best oranges to your deities, the best grapes to your deities. Not necessarily the stuff at the corner store. You're going to have to make that trip to Whole Foods, because don't the deity and the ancestors, don't they deserve the best? I see some people come in here and they be having stickers on their fruit. That was you, Amaka. No. She's like, oh. Some people have stickers on their fruit. So I say, do you ever leave your house with the price tag on your clothes? No. So why are you offering that to deity? Why are you offering that level of laziness? You know, you're supposed to wear your best. Some people be like, I'll wash it at the temple when I get there. So you making your errands on the run instead of having a sacred attitude about your approach to divinity. So nobody says, I'll just take a shower at the temple. Nobody does that. That sounds crazy, right? I'm gonna just wash up in the sink at the temple. So check this out. So you take the shower, your bath at home, and then when you come to the temple, we still make you wash. Because there's some other stuff out there in the way between you washing and coming to the temple, and that needs to be washed off too. So we're just talking about the approach to divinity. So we've lost a sense of connection with the sacred. The church used to dress up. The women used to wear the hats. The church had a tradition of dressing up, and somehow they got away from that. Somehow they've fallen away from it, because we see it in hip hop also. Somehow we become obsessed with having to appeal to the youth. And we're losing our integrity trying to appeal to the youth. When the youth need to be validating themselves with the elder. So now you got the pastors wearing jeans and t-shirts just to get the youth in the church. And so they just decided they didn't have a scriptural reference to justify the church hats and stuff, so they let it go. And here we are in 2020, and the millennials are leaving the churches in mass numbers. So they did all that to get the young folks, and they leaving anyway. So we lost the sense of connection with the sacred. So we're actually looking for reasons not to give our best these days. I look at people going out on dates, they don't dress up no more for one another. They dress up for Instagram. And now they got us not wanting to meet in person no more. So now when we meet in person, we wear jeans and t-shirts. I ain't dressing up for you. We got too many people trying to chill, but the sun don't chill. We're people of the sun, so we get lit. So that's where your Ra come in. Make an example. That's where your Haru come in. Look good. Be graceful with the truth. So when they see the truth, they should be experiencing the truth through you. Right? You're like, this is going to make us dress up with the church hats and stuff. Y'all get it? We do that thing in our way. So Nefertum reminds us to remember what's sacred. So how do we remember what's sacred? I just said, get the best incense. So I'm going to give you some incense that I feel like. So you need incense produced by people who see that as a sacred art. So it is almost like people have priesthoods or ministries of incense because it's that serious in certain cultures, especially like the Hindu culture. Incense is serious. So we have Prabhuji incense. So when I'm saying quality incense, I'm not talking about the incense at the dollar store or the regular Muslim incense. No disrespect to the Muslims, but there's certain people that it is their craft to make incense, and when you smell and experience those incense, you can actually feel the shift, change, and transformation in your energy. You're like, damn, that's different. That makes me feel a certain way. So give Prabhuji. We have it up at the back table. Also, that's an excellent brand. Another one is Fred Soul incense. They deal with resin. Our ancestors deal with resin. These little resin balls that they put on their charcoal and stuff like that. Fred Soul has that. Those incense burn for like an hour or more. Like it's serious. It'll smoke this whole room up. Like if you at home and you got white walls, you might not. you got to be careful with the Fred Soul incense because they have your whole room lit. You might have to burn that in quarters. That's how powerful it is. So what else? We have Sathya Sai Baba. Y'all ever heard of him? He was an Indian mystic back in India. He looked like a black man. He had an afro. He has a whole incense line. They come in blue boxes. And it's the main brand is Nag Champa. Yes. Nag Champa is a spiritual scent, but I think he was the first, his spiritual organization was to put that on the map, and it's a very spiritual incense burn. I think we have it here, right? Nag Champa. Then a company called Ganesh. Ganesh is pretty good. And then there's Triloka, another good brand. And make sure you keep yourself anointed with sacred oils every day, or your best smelling fragrance. Remember I said things that smell good are associated with divinity. So if you don't have essential oil fragrances or whatever, you don't find nothing you like, just smell good, period. You could be like the diffuser in the room. When you come to me like, wow, she smells good. And it changes people's moods. It lifts people like, wow, he smells good. Isn't it disappointing, ladies, when you see a man or whatever, then you go hug him, or and then he don't smell good, you're like, damn, he looked like he smelled good, but he don't. Same with the brothers and the sisters. You're like, wow, she's exotic, she's provocative, but she don't smell good. Or she smells like nothing. So smelling good is part of the whole process. And you smell like, I guess, just skin. The point is, that's the charge. That ain't my opinion, that's the charge. The charge is about essence. The charge is about sacred. So if something as small as wearing a scent or oil or cologne that's going to lift the energy wherever you go, that's a big deal. That's your contribution to making this whole thing work. I don't know why people just keep putting it on leaders or organizations to change everything for everybody. You know, that's a question. Well, what you doing for the community? Like, we doing this for the community. I can't save the people in Australia. I got to start with the people in the room and understand it's concentric circles. So when I come up here and I dress fly like this, it's benefiting y'all. You be like, yeah, that Nasida is sharp. Yeah, that's my Nasida right there. Like, I don't know what the other cats are doing, but Nasida is sharp. So me eating right, me exercising benefits you. It inspires you. You inspire your family. You inspire the people at work. Then you see how it starts spreading out. There's no one thing you could do or I do or us as an organization that's just going to shift, change, and transform because everybody's at different levels. We always have to factor that. You got certain people at the beginning of their journey, never heard none of this. What can I say or we do to change everything for that person at that point? Then we got people in our community that think they know it all. What can I or we do to change them? You see what I'm saying? It's just different levels. So all you could do is be profound as an individual. So us as individuals in this room, if we become profound collectively, then we're working with some things. But everybody got to hold down their part. It's too much, oh, I ain't got to do it because the sitting them is on it. Like, no, we need a whole room of people taking this thing serious as the sitting him at take things. And then you working with some magic. Then you'll see that making the shifts, changes, and transformation is not as hard as you thought. Some of it is just energy. Some of it is just influence. There's the power in influence. Good fragrance is synonymous with divinity. Keep your home smelling fragrant. Your home is supposed to be your headquarters. So if you don't like incense, use the aromatherapy diffuser. Keep that vapor in the air. Because some people are allergic to the smoke and they be thinking that gets them out of it. No, you use the essential oil diffuser. So your home should be your safe haven. That's connected to the word heaven. Don't we associate heaven with the skies or something high up? So in Meroneta, or Sesh Meroneta, or Rani Kemet, what is the word for heaven or the sky? Or at least one of them. I'm looking for one. Pet. So pet is that which is up, is the heavenly abode, the sky. Heaven. Remember I told you about paradigm, wordplay? So what is that word backwards? Tep is what? Top. The head. Tep, top, the head. So we're talking about elevated mental states. So your home is your haven, your heaven. It is where you program, charge, rejuvenate your mental state. As a Christian say, you gotta rejuvenate your mind. And home is supposed to be the place to do that. I'm gonna end on there. I'll just continue next communion because I'm getting hot.
Got that leopard skin. That's right.
The animal fire
skin.
I'm about to growl and jump off. All right, y'all, so let's stand up. Left foot forward. Shimmy and Matap.
Shimmy and Matap.
D and new, Uncle Josh, or men right over left, sisters left over right. D and new, Uncle Josh Sadat.
D and new, Uncle Josh Sadat.
Bring it into your heart chakra. Retract your foot in. Count to 3, round out with your right foot. Wa, salute, shimmy. All right.
And thank you to all of you on Facebook and YouTube Live who joined us for today's session. We appreciate your donations and gifts to help us further our work. You can send your donations via Cash App to $ Temple of Anu or on PayPal, templeofanu@gmail.com. We'll see you guys again in 2 weeks, Facebook and YouTube Live, approximately 1 p.m. in the afternoon on Sunday, November, is the 15th, right? Sunday, November 15th. Dua again for your support. Shamim Matap.